So for this topic, we're going to be talking about roles and the RACI and how we can ensure that the appropriate information is captured. So as an example, we're going to have this as a review of invoice, and actually we'll do it here because this makes more sense. The approval of an invoice. So in Visio you have swim lanes that illustrate who is responsible for what, and with most clients that I've worked with, or with a lot of companies, one of the biggest issues is there's a confusion of accountability and roles and who's responsible for something, who's accountable. Sometimes you have two people working on the same thing, sometimes nobody's working on it. So where the value in ARIS really comes through is if you have something like this, like a proven invoice, and you have, and we'll just start over, and let's say you have an AP clerk that needs to do it. So you can put AP clerk. Now when you link it, this is where the value comes in. It pops out this selection. Usually it's just responsible, accountable, you have supportive. They have a few other ones. The careful thing to do here is less is more. So carries out means that they're the ones doing it. Technically responsible really means accountable. And then the other ones that I look on are decisions, so decides on, which can also be accountable. So you just have to define these. But this is the RACI. This is where the value comes. So when I click on it, the AP clerk actually carries this out, and we'll just say it needs. So by carries this out, we can add more details in there, like the approval process of getting the invoices, bringing them to the leader, and so on. But let's say the AP manager has a role in it. So we'll just say is we can put it technically responsible. So the story that this tells us now is that, and here you can run a report, for example. So you can run a report, you can have the RACI. Now you can have more roles, you can have less roles, but as you look at this, approval of the invoice. So right here you can see that we've said that the AP clerk is responsible, but the AP manager is technically accountable for it. So again, it's what you want to use, how you want to use it. So this is telling a story that this person does this, but the end or the outcome of that, the AP manager is the one that's accountable for it. Now this might not be the best example, but it's just to show you the functionality of this. Again, if you have 4 or 5 different roles, maybe there's a group. So if we go down here, there's a group. Let's say the accounts payable group needs to be informed about it. So you would add that on here. Must be informed about. And you'd have to rerun the RACI. See, it doesn't come up automatically. So what you have to do is you have to rerun it. And now it adds more to the story. So the approval, the clerk does it, the manager's really accountable for it, and this group must be informed about it. So this is where a lot of the value comes. where it provides clarity. Now you can also include these into process manuals and so on, so everybody knows what the other person is accountable for. And eventually you can take it one step further. You can align your training material. You can align your job descriptions, and it gets rid of that risk of I don't know who's doing what or who's responsible for what.